Okay, motion under gravity or the falling objects. Example, you have different objects and this can be with or without air resistance. So first one is without air resistance. This is the last topic of today, the motion under gravity. Without air resistance, if there is no air resistance acting on the object. And you have different objects of different size, but you drop all of them from the same position. This is a ground. And you drop these objects from same position. These objects have different masses. Example, this object is 10 kilogram and its weight is equals to 100 newtons. This object is 2 kilogram and its weight is equals to 20 newtons. And the other object is 50 kilogram and its weight on earth, we are dropping all of them on earth without air resistance, its weight is equals to 500 newton. Weight is a force of gravity, so you can mention weight. Gravity is 10. Gravity, the value of the gravity is 10 for each object. Weight is the force. Each kilogram experience a force of 10 Newton, that's called gravity. But the total force which experienced by the object, that's called weight. So gravity on earth, you're dropping all of them on the surface of the earth. The gravity of the earth is 10 Newton per kilogram. Means every Newton will every kilogram will experience a force of 10. Each kilogram experience a force of 10 Newton. The question is, these objects drop from the same height, object A, B and C. So the question is, which object will hit the ground first? Which object will hit the ground first, A, B or C?
C.
So without air resistance, when you drop the objects from same height, actually what happened, they all will hit the ground at the same time. How they are able to hit the ground at the same time, even though they have different masses? All will fall, but all will hit the ground at the same time as well. What is the reason why they all will hit the ground at the same time? Why not the heaviest one, C? Because if you find the acceleration of this object, what is the formula to calculate acceleration, you have this formula, F is equals to ma. We just discussed this formula. Force is equals to mass multiplied by acceleration, or acceleration is force divided by mass. So what is the force acting on A? The force acting on A is 100. What is the mass of A? It is 10. So what is its acceleration? Its acceleration is 10 meter per second square. What about acceleration of B? When you find acceleration of a B, its force, it's 20 and the mass is 2. So what is the acceleration of a B? It's also 10 meter per second square. And when you find the acceleration or change in speed for C, so acceleration is force divided by mass. So force is 500, the mass is 50. So again, what you will get acceleration as 10 meter per second square. So whenever you drop the object without air resistance, all the objects will have the same acceleration, but the condition is without air resistance. There should be no air resistance. So when without air resistance, you drop the object, all the object will have a same acceleration, means same change in speed. So after 1 second, what will be the speed of A? Speed of A will be 10. After 1 second, what is the speed of B? That is also 10. After 1 second, what is the speed of C? The speed of C is also 10. After another 1 second, because every second the speed will change by 10, and this, so every second the speed will change by 10, and this change in the speed due to acceleration is known as acceleration due to gravity. Yeah, weight is a force. Weight is a force acting on the object and m is a mass. So force divided by mass, you will get acceleration. So acceleration due to gravity is same. So whenever you drop objects from same height, so all the objects will hit the ground at same time because all have same acceleration, which is 10 meter per second square, known as acceleration due to gravity. So it's whenever you drop any object from the same height, all the objects will hit the ground at the same time without air resistance. Keep in mind, because this is without air resistance. If there is no air resistance acting, then all the object will have the same acceleration, and we call that as acceleration due to gravity. Is it clear? So if I drop, say, a book and a feather, and I drop both of them from the same height without air resistance, which will hit the ground first, a book or a feather? Without air resistance, if there is no air resistance acting on it. Again, the same answer will be there. Both will hit the ground at the same time. Yeah. Why both will hit the ground at the same time? Because
there is no air resistance.
Yeah, because there is no air resistance and their acceleration is constant. They have the same acceleration or they have the same change in speed. So same acceleration or same change in speed for them. What if there's a air resistance? That's another type of question. But this is the first one is when there's no air resistance. Today, this class will only discuss without air resistance, and next class I will explain with air resistance as well. Take the screenshot for this. Then the last part is the graph. What will be the shape of the graph? Because they have a constant acceleration. Whenever objects fall, so falling objects, so speed time graph for falling objects without a resistance. Falling objects will have always have constant acceleration. So I want to make a speed time graph. And whenever the objects are falling, they all have a constant acceleration or constant change in speed. So, and if you remember, for a speed time graph, the slope represent acceleration. So slope and acceleration have the same meaning. So if it's a constant acceleration, there should be a constant slope. So a line with a constant slope, it means it will be a straight line. So always a speed time graph is always a straight line for a constant acceleration. So falling objects, it is always a straight line. Is it clear? Because the acceleration is constant, so slope should be constant.
Sir,
Yes?
they only have a constant acceleration when there is no air resistance.
Yeah, they have only constant acceleration when there is no air resistance. But with air resistance, yeah. Continue.
Yeah, but if there is an air resistance, do they have a constant acceleration?
No, if there's an air resistance, they don't have a constant acceleration, then their acceleration will decrease and the shape of the graph will be different. That we'll discuss, but because that part is about like a 4-mark question in exam, so I have to explain whole details about that with air resistance. So today I will stop at without air resistance, and next class I will explain with air resistance. Speed time graph for falling objects with air resistance and what happened to the objects. So is it clear? Whenever you drop, just keep in mind, whenever you drop any object without air resistance, if there is no air resistance acting on the objects will have a constant acceleration. So speed time graph, it will have a constant slope. And all the objects, even it's a lighter object or a heavy object, all will hit the ground at the same time. Any doubt related to today's class, like the force, the resultant force, the relation between force, mass, and acceleration? And this was the last part we discussed, in which a speed time graph for a falling object without air resistance. Then there is also a speed time graph and the explanation of motion with air resistance that I will discuss next week. Anything else related to the class? Any doubt?